the player of the game. So well deserved. 46% of Apex's damage was done by this man. He did over 70,000. Next highest on his team was like 32K. That is 1,175 damage per minute over the course of a ridiculously long game. So he was an absolute beast. All the credit in the world to Keen. He hard carried this game. A lot of it really did come down to that late game scaling. Cass got massive, and Apollo was really pumping out the damage on late game Sivir, and C9 couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, the very late game composition. Now, Cloud9, on the other hand, they didn't really have any way to get that late game powerhouse of Apex back in line.
Yeah, they couldn't get to the back line. They couldn't actually get back there and kill off, the Cassiopeia and the Sivir. And because they were kind of having to go frontline versus frontline and fight against this Alistar and this tank Rek'Sai, there's just people in the backline pumping out all this damage nonstop. And yes, they have a Shen, but he's full tank. So even if you do land a taunt onto Cass, not like you're going to do anything to him. And who's going to dive back with him? Who's actually going to go back and kill him off? So the comp was incredibly strong for Apex late game. They kind of weathered the storm and were able to pick up a win.
Yeah, well, in answer, though, Cloud9 looking to change things up once again. Smoothie is back up for Cloud9.
Yeah, so he is going in and has been doing very well. They won in game 1 with him. It was a loss for Bunny in game 2, but exceptionally close, and I don't think that it was really something that you can place onto Bunny. And it's also good to keep in mind that they seem to do these rotations win or lose, so I don't think it's necessarily reactive to anything that particularly happened in that game. I am interested to see if they're going to go 3 for 3 on Braum, because against TSM they went 3 for 3 on Bard and just kind of swap back and forth. Today, if they're 2 for 3 on the Braum, how are they going to make it a triple?
Yeah, we're going to find out. But former world champion Impact is tough competition for Apex. Ray, though, tells us he's no stranger to world-class opponents.
전 EDG에 있었을 때, 전 팀인 EDG에 있었을 때 되게 머리 똑똑한 선수들이 되게 많았어요. 클리어러브라든지 데프트라든지 폰이라든지 되게 세계적인 선수들하고 같이 게임을 해보니까 제가 부족했던 점들도 보완을 할 수 있고, 저는 피지컬이 제 자신 좋다고 믿고 있어요. 피지컬이 좋으니까 그러니까 운영 스타일이라든지 게임이 흘러가는 흐름을 그 선수들한테 배우니까 그게 가장 도움이 많이 됐던 것 같아요.
I've got to say, he was looking really good in that game as well on the Jarvan, dodging in and out of those fights. When you're that squishy, full DPS, he made it look easy to actually have big team fight impact and still stay alive. He wasn't just trading his life away for free. So incredibly mechanically and also decision-making was really showcased.
Yeah, having the forethought to know, like, okay, he's going to dash, and then he's going to have his Guardian Angel, and just being able to play around the entire team fight just shows how mechanically talented Ray is as a player. And Impact has been doing a great job of keeping up with him over the course of this series. We talked about it in Game 1 and a little bit in Game 2, but it certainly has to have been a challenge.
Yeah. Definitely a challenge so far, but Impact has been more than equal to the test. He's played very well in the first 2 games. I think, no discredit to him whatsoever, and it just came down a lot to the comp, and now we are in the pick and ban, so we're going to find out what comps we will be gifted this time around.
Yeah.
Changes already being made. Apex says, no, you cannot play Shen once more. Question is, do they ban out the Trundle too and really kind of focus on Impact, or are they saying, you know what, take Shen off the table and you can have Trundle? Well, there's the answer.
Yeah, there's the double top lane ban, and Rise banned away. Immediately, Jax is hovered by Ray. So we'll see if they decide to go for that once again. No, in fact, it's going to be Sivir returning to that for Apollo, enabling Apex so much.
A very quick lock onto the Sivir, and it's been key so far in this series. It is 2-0. We did see Sneaky win on a game 1. Apollo wins on a game 2. And now it is the time to respond. No Bard ban on the table this time, so C9 has the ability to take it. But with double bans onto Impact, they may want to secure a top laner. Rek'Sai always high priority here for Meteos. He has been happy to respond with Kindred as well, but I do feel like he's really a great Rek'Sai player, and it's always been one that seems like it's a little bit peg up on Kindred for him.
Yeah, taking that away from Shrimp. We'll see if he decides to go for it. The Braum hovered once again.
It's hard to know what they're going to go for.
It's actually locked in. 3 for 3 on the Braum.
Okay.
And Rek'Sai is locked in too.
So it is going to be Braum. All 3 games for Cloud9. Smoothie back on it. He won with it in Game 1. They did lose with the champion in Game 2, but it was a different support. Meteos now in there on the Rek'Sai. Has had a lot of success. Picked up the player of the game last week on it. Doing quite well for himself in that regard. And And now it's the turn of Shrimp to respond. So it's actually going to be the Gragas lock. It's possible it could be Flex to the top, but very likely is going to be the jungler. And the special goes right back to the Alistar.
Yeah, not wanting to show that mid and top just yet. That means at least one of the solo lanes, if not both, are going to be shown for Cloud9 and allow Ray and Keen, at least one of them, to get that counter pick. So last time Cloud9 focused on counter pick for Jensen. Do they do it again?
Very likely. I don't think that they are going to show both their solo lanes. I think that would be poor drafting strategy.
Yeah.
It's possible that they do that sometimes, but it has to be a very specific reason. It has to be like, okay, we want to play Jhin, but only if X happens, right? You're kind of committing a lot to doing it that sort of a draft. Traditionally, you do want to pick one of the solo laners last, give yourself a nice lane matchup. Mid lane is the most advantageous, in my opinion, a lot of times with that, because if you go mid lane, that's the one that's always kind of in the 1v1. You always do get that lane. If you can have a really big advantage for yourself there, can be quite nice, but it's all going to come down to the drafting strategy for C9. Do they have something particular that is dependent on comp? And it doesn't look like it. So Maokai Ashe going to be locked in here. And this is a pretty low damage team for C9. It's a massive front line, but a lot of onus will be put onto Jensen as their mid laner to really be the late game damage. Because Ashe, although it does have quite a bit of damage itself, you have to be very scared of the engage of champions like the Gragas, like the Alistar. So this is something where Seeki's going to have to play very carefully around it, and because you do, it's harder to get damage out during the fights. And as a result, we're going to have a lot of pressure on Jensen to be putting out that damage.
Jensen has definitely stepped up for Cloud9 over the past few months, really coming online as one of the best, if not the best, mid laners in all of North America.
Yeah.
And showing that he has what it takes to play at the highest level. Now, Apex, they've still got their mid and top. They could look for similar composition. Seems like they're hovering it right now. 5 seconds left.
Maybe a repeat, and why not? It worked out last game, and it is going to be the double lock-in Jarvan and Cass. So Cassiopeia back-to-back games here for Keen. Ray is going to make his third appearance on J4 this season, and now it is up to Jensen. What does he have in store for us? What is the answer to the Cass? You know, do you go for something more early game? Do you risk kind of letting it scale out, or do you go for big team fight prowess? He's played a lot of kind of roaming, impact the side lane type champions in the first 2 games. He had TF, then he had Lissandra. Does he go to something like the Victor for big team fight impact? Does he go to something new that we haven't yet seen?
We're about to find out. 20 seconds left.
If I had to guess,
Jensen.
I'd say it would be Victor, simply because there isn't a massive amount of damage coming out from jungle support or top lane. And Victor really does kind of bring the pain as far as those team fights go, but this could be interesting. This could be something where he's saying, you know what? We don't have to get to that late game team fighting because I'm going to smash you in lane, and I'm going to play that LeBlanc, and that is the lock-in there for Jensen. So a lot of pressure going to be on him to do very well and get the game going early, because if we get to late, it's going to be tough for him to team fight on that LeBlanc. He needs to get picks. He needs to roam around and affect the map. We'll see how well he's going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, the pressure is on for Cloud9 with this pick composition, whereas Apex, once again, need to ride out that early to mid game and make it late enough for Keen to come online.
I will say, though, they have a lot of power. It's a pretty well-rounded comp for Apex. Yes, Cass is a super hyper, like it's a hyper late game scaling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Sivir is solid early mid game. A lot of these champions are J4, Gragas, Alistar, all have high impact ultimates. As soon as they hit 6, they're going to be really strong. They're going to be frightening to deal with. C9 is very much about the CC this game. They have a lot of lockdown. We have the roots from Maokai. We have pop-up from Meteos. There's a lot of follow-up CC from the Braum, as well as engage from Ashe. So it's going to be about them finding picks, choosing the correct fights, because in a straight-up 5v5, they may have trouble getting through the front line.
Yeah, they certainly might, but it's your last chance to use Twitter to weigh in on the fan vote. Use hashtag APXWin as they are out for this match win, or hashtag C9win if you think Cloud9 will end up victorious. Apex, once again, going to try to drag this one out and try to lock Cloud9 down. Both teams 3-2 in the standings right now. A win here would be great.
especially for Apex, because they have a lot of doubters. People are saying, "Oh, yeah, sure, they beat CLG, but CLG wasn't doing that well.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, they're not that great. They've only beat the worst teams. If they can get a win here against Cloud9, who has been doing very well, their only losses were 2-1 losses to TSM and Immortals, right? Two of the very best teams in the league. So Apex wants to prove that they are competing with the very best. And one thing to note, Ray forgot to buy items. What you doing, Ray?
I think he'll notice.
I'm sure he'll notice.
He'll probably notice.
He'll very likely notice. Would be unfortunate if he didn't, though. I have also been there as the jungler, and I'm like, ooh, forgot that.
He's in the zone. You've got to imagine somebody on that team is pressing tab.
It could also be something where he's like, this is benefit of the doubt, but it could be like, okay, if I go into lane swap, I want this. If I go into 1v1, I want this. So I'm going to wait and see what my opponent's purchased. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt and say that is a possibility. And he does buy it up before anything happens anyway, so it's not really relevant. But it could be one of those things where it was actually going to be reactive, He's kind of waffling on it, not sure what he wants, but if he was going to be in the 1v1, perhaps he would have been happier with like a Doran's Blade or something really aggressive, and if he's going to be in a lane swap, maybe he just wanted to sustain. So we'll see how this does work out now, as C9 going to be sending their bot lane top, and we are going to have the bot lanes matching up here, as Apex is already on the top side, and it's going to be 2v2, kind of the Aussie rules flipped.
The upside down lanes.
Yep.
And junglers will start on the same side of the map. So Cloud9, they're actually going to invade. They're spotted out by a ward. So that ward was purchased by Ray. He did open his shop and buy a yellow trinket. So
yeah, so probably
I believe reactive. Yeah, that it was a conscious decision. But Apollo is going to start off with the Gromp. He's going to get a little bit of bonus experience.
It's actually a pretty big deal because C9 elects to try to deny it instead of going for a camp of their own, and they're too slow to do so. So they are going to lose a little bit out on that. It's going to be some nice gold in the pocket there for Apollo, and it's early level 2 actually for a special to give him.
Chunks down to half on Sneaky. Not going to be able to proc the Winter's Bite stun.
Too. Pretty low, actually. Nice little adaptation. I'm not sure if it was intentional to give that to special or not. It could be something where they're kind of making that sacrifice, giving up the gold on Apollo to get that kind of explosive level 2 on Alistar. And as far as how it worked out, not too big of a deal, as C9 kind of kept the wave advantage. They kept it pushing in, so Apex could not fight into the minions.
Meteos now looking for a bit of a gank mid. He was very aggressive during his early laning phase against Jensen in the previous game. Special gets a big 2-man knockup, and they trade favorably. Meteos comes in, the chain lands. They cleanses right away to get out of the knockup.
So cleanse is gone, flash still available. But this is something that Keen has to be very wary of, because without having that cleanse, if one more chain lands, it could be, flash knockup from Meteos, flash in there from Jensen. So they have a lot of aggressive opportunities, and this is a lane that a lot of focus will be on because Jensen wants to get ahead. He needs to be ahead of the cast to have equal impact on the game.
Yeah, the onus is on Jensen to really show us what he's got in this match and bring Apex low. Ray is going to be able to catch this minion wave, as Impact has had a pretty good time shoving it in. 2 levels ahead now, as he has gotten the favorable experience, but Ray will be able to catch up, no problem.
Yeah, Ray's going to be just fine, and hopefully for him, we'll pick up most of this farm at the turret. He's actually missing a lot, though. Pretty poor last hitting for pro standards there, but not the end of the world, and he is going to be pretty even in CS. Eventually, only down a couple, so it's not really a big deal. Even though percentage-wise he's down a lot, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so there was a couple of pings out for Shrimp. He saw the early Scuttle Crab take. Whoa, Jensen.
Good trade there by Keen.
Yeah, can't leap out of the miasma. That debilitating poison, very strong. But Shrimp did ping out a few of the wards that Cloud9 placed to protect Impact on that bottom lane. Both junglers are on this side of the map, but don't know that we're going to see anything quite yet because they're still playing very safe this early on.
Since Shrimp is on a jungler that needs mana this time around, he's going to take the blue, and it's going to be Jensen that gets that early blue gifted over to him. That's one of the advantages of Rek'Sai. Does not need the blue buff, so you can just toss that over to your mid laner, allow them to spam it out, and hopefully get some sort of an advantage here. Keen is trying to shove it in, though. He wants to get the early base to negate that advantage, and he will be able to do so.
Yeah, already got 1,000 gold in the bank, so he will be able to get his tier on that first recall if he wants to start stacking it. He actually has enough for a catalyst if he wants to go for a slightly safer route with some bonus health, but he decides to go for the tier. and picks up a few wards to make sure that Meteos isn't going to go for another visit towards that lane. Yeah, so far everything has been relatively safe between the two. Meteos. Oh, flash knockout from Xpecial, but Meteos is on that side of the map. Shrimp joins in. There's a lot of summoners being burned. There's a teleport. Xpecial is left behind. Apollo spell shields the stun. In fact, Jensen gets up there. Chain will land, but first blood, Cloud9.
TP Jensen coming in. Not exactly who you expect to pop in there, is the LeBlanc, and he's able to grab first blood for himself, which is going to be huge. We talked about how he needs the snowball, and he's putting himself in a position to do so, but Impact down here is going to need to base probably pretty soon. Does not want to risk getting solo killed, is getting a little bit low out of those flash charges, and it's going to hang around, has some pretty good sustain, try to pick up another wave, and then probably base.
Oh gosh, he doesn't have any summoner spells. Sneaky's going to land the snow. Slow.
He has to spell shield the Q. If he's able to do it, he's fine. Yeah.
Okay, he walks it off. Smoothie hesitates just a little bit too long, and Apollo gets out.
Yeah, so here we have this engaged once again. Xpecial goes in. They do not respect the TP advantage, though, for Cloud9. Flash knockup from Xpecial knocks him right back in. But here we have Meteos quickly joining in the fight. Jensen is there as well. They're able to get first blood. And they do flash, trying to go for a little bit more, but it was a bit too ambitious, not able to pick it up.
Yeah, and that first blood is on Jensen. So while he does need to be ahead of Keen, he can get ahead by ganking other lanes using that teleport on LeBlanc.
Yeah, affecting other lanes is one of the best ways to get yourself an advantage as a mid laner. Jensen is doing that very well. He's highly prioritizing it. Most people take Ignite on LeBlanc to try to go for those solo kills and things like that. He's spending more time moving around the map, and as such, he's going to want that TP.
Yeah, 7 minutes in. Despite that action in the top lane, it has been very patient. Jungler's not really doing too much this time. Again, Meteos farming pretty hard, making sure he's got some good vision. There's actually a lot of wards for Apex on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, Dark Seal actually picked up by Impact, which is not something you see very often on Maokai.
Yeah.
It may have just been something where he's just kind of at the right gold threshold to pick it up. It was common for a while. We saw it a lot on Echo, where you go Dark Seal plus the Corrupting Potion and kind of get yourself some early power that way. You get more regen back from those pots. It's definitely not a bad buy. Maokai can make use of the AP and actually do a surprising amount of teamfight damage in the early game. But we'll see. Impact's pretty far up here, and Shrimp's coming around. He doesn't see him.
Yeah, trying to land the knockup. Impact does have his ultimate. Ray decides not to drop the Cataclysm as Shrimp waddles down and heads back into the jungle.
Yeah, they saw Meteos moving his way down, didn't think they could actually get a kill fast enough on Impact, and I think they were probably right. Especially blowing those first ultimates on Shrimp and Ray. It's pretty long cooldowns at rank 1 before they have CDR. They want to try to make sure they get something out of it. And Sneaky now moving over here, looking for an ultimate perhaps. They're going to try to get something done, I imagine, on Keen. As they do make the rotation to mid lane, similar as to what they did last game. They made a couple rotations, able to blow Summers first time, got to kill the second time.
Yeah, Cloud9 prioritizing shutting Keen down quite a bit. But not able to do it in game 2. Let's see if they can in this game here as Keen. Oh, he's going to be gifted the blue buff, but Cloud9 tried to challenge it.
So far, so good for Keen. And the rest of Apex, honestly, they're doing pretty well here. Everyone's staying very competitive or up in farm. And C9 does have that first blood advantage, but Apex is definitely not going to be worried about this just yet. Jensen making a roam up to top lane, though. Media's trying to clear out the wards before they go in. We'll see if they can get the arrow engage, but they have them warded out, so nothing they can do.
Once again, Cloud9 trying to propel Jensen ahead, but wards from Apex are going to spot it out. Playing it safe. Infernal Drake untouched on the bottom side of the map.
And no one has really felt that they have enough of an advantage, enough pressure to kind of go for that. And they are going to have to try to get a kill or do something before they do. Nice little trade there from Impact. And once again, C9 moving towards the mid lane, but it's all pinged out. We'll see if they can actually hit an arrow, if anything's going to happen here. Sneaky moving up.
Oh, Meteos gets a lot of damage. Keen. Oh, dodges the chain and the Winter's Bite. In fact, is going to drop the Petrifying.
Here comes TP.
Teleport.
Ray coming in.
And there goes Xpecial from behind. Meteos gets cast out. He just has to buy enough time. Apollo catches up to Meteos. He's going to drop it. Apex get the first kill of this. Impact even teleporting in. Ray has got the Cataclysm. Can he lock them down? He gets destroyed by Jensen, but Xpecial with the knockup. They're going to turn another kill onto Keen. He lands the speed. Can he catch up? He's going to be slowed out just a bit. Jensen is not going to assassinate him, but that's a quick 1 for 2 in favor of Apex.
Yeah, good job there by Apex collapsing on Cloud9, who was just hanging around for so long, really trying to force this, and kind of uncharacteristically very telegraphed. They already knew they were spotted out. They continue for it on Keen, who had all his summoners, and Apex make the collapse. So, you know, they're going up on Keen. They're trying to make something happen, but they're taking a lot of poke, and here comes the TP from Ray. The bot lane is moving over, and a nice collapse allows them to get the first kill here on Meteos. And then Ray goes in, tries to get a kill of his own, but is going to get CC'd up and dies before he can really get much of a combo off at all. The exhaust has been taken this time by Smoothie.
Yeah, very important adaptation for Cloud9.
Yeah, it was something they didn't have last time. Bunny actually played with the Ignite, and it was key last game that Ray was able to get these assassinations, and it's so much harder to do so when the support has exhaust. At the same time, game's still very even in gold. C9 perhaps looking to go for a dive. We'll see if they're going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, Smoothie's
would be kind of risky.
Smoothie's on his way as well, but here goes Apollo and Xpecial and Shrimp. Might not have vision, but they might have a sense that this is happening.
They know it's coming. They're ready for it.
Yeah, here comes Ray. He's still got his flash. He gets a huge 3-man knockup and a
disaster for
Cataclysm.
C9.
Yeah, Ray is still going to be locked down. They're able to pick up the kill and kite out the aggro. Xpecial needs to land the knockup. Whoa!
Oh!
Keen from behind turns it into 2.
C9 gets spotted out, and Apex makes them pay. They can't even get the kill. 2 quick kills for Apex. They are out to an early lead, and they have the scaling teamfight advantage. They are going to be very tough for C9 to deal with.
Yeah, Keen with a huge roam turns that back around. Impact is going to try to catch this wave. On the hunt is blown. There's no cast, but Impact doesn't have a flash. Xpecial initiates the dive, and Impact will go down to Apollo. 5-2 Apex.
Yeah, 3 for 0 in the extended trade. They're pushing it in on this turret. They have another wave, and they may be able to take it. And here is the replay once again. Apex is already camping it out in the bush. They know that this is going to happen. So smart to not show. They baited it in. Now Ray buys enough time. Double ultimate, landing a lot of damage here. Xpecial actually failed his combo there. He Q'd the ground, unfortunately, or it would have been much worse for C9. But Keen makes the roam, alt flash, nails 2. Meteos gets popped back in by Shrimp. A quick double kill. Unfortunately, it's on the Gragas, but still, great stuff.
Ray's caught top lane right now as Smoothie. Ooh, the arrow actually misses, but it's still going to be a knock-up onto Ray. He has no escape and will end up dropping down. C9 are able to pick that one up in answer, but it's still almost 800 gold in favor of Apex.
Yeah, and Meteos does take it. Probably should have gifted it over to Sneaky, who was right in the area. Doesn't even get an assist as Apollo's out to an early lead this game. 2-0-2 on him. He is looking good. Sneaky has not been able to grab any kills. Jensen in a fight here. Could be in some trouble, but he does still have his combo available.
Double chain finds Keen.
People are roaming down from top.
One. Here comes Meteos, but they see vision, and Shrimp in the back means that Keen is able to walk it off. Apex are looking to break down this tier 1, though the Ricochet is going to make it a little bit tough. There they go. Finally able to drop it. First start of the game goes down to Apex.
Yeah, they're going to get this. C9 will trade for top, keeping it very close in the goal. Jensen has a lot of his spell pen purchased up now. Sork boots plus the Abyssal. He's going to look for assassinations, and he really needs to start making stuff happen with this LeBlanc. Look for picks, try to pop either the AD carry or Keen or somebody, but he's going to have to make stuff happen because it's going to be tough for him in the team fights since there's so much CC from Apex as well as a lot of damage. And Apex makes the first move towards Dragon. It's getting pinged out. Impact will check it, but I don't think there's anything they can really do to stop it.
Yeah, that would be a very optimistic steal, especially with Xpecial there. And Infernal Drake is going to go over to Apex. First of the game. Apex looking a little bit better as they transition out of the early game a little bit more. High time for Keen to fully come online.
Yeah, last game they were actually behind in gold early on. They did catch up eventually, but not till much later. This time around, they take an early lead. and get the first dragon as well. They are scaling, they are looking good. And I have to say they're playing around Jensen's roams fantastically, always giving respect to C9's mid laner, awarding out properly, and being very careful about not letting the LeBlanc snowball.
Apex really starting to come together as a team over the course of this series, showing that they can compete with some of the best teams in North America. And Sneaky actually has the arrow here. Keen's trying to be careful. He's got his cleanse though, so I think he should be okay.
Yeah, he has cleanse, and with that available, with the flash available, it's something that would be very risky for C9 to go for. You know, he's level 11, Smoothie's 7, Seeky's 9. Yes, they could win a straight up 2v1, but if someone comes in to support, they'll probably get smashed. And if an engage goes wrong, it's not really worth the risk. So, you know, the C9 bot lane just going to farm it out here. Jensen's trying to clear top, but cannot hold as the rotation comes in from Apex.
Yeah, 4 members of Apex on this side of the map try to rush down in tier 1. Impact is
they're looking for the dive mid lane, though. Look at Meteos. He's setting up for this. They'll see if they can get Keen.
Keen has got the petrifying gaze. Meteos can't get up in time. Sneaky will not have enough as Apex try to collapse on the mid lane. Jensen waiting on the far side. Top tier 1 goes down. Impact still on the bottom.
Yeah, Impact is looking for the bottom turret. It's pretty low. May eventually be able to finish it off, but Apex, knowing that he is down there, going to make the move to the Rift Tail, try to get this for Ray once again. It's always a big priority for them. It does not look like C9's really able to do anything about it. It's already going to be gone by the time Jensen gets there.
Yeah, Apex with a very commanding play. Oh, yeah, Ray is able to get it. Take the top tier 1, trade, and secure the Rift Herald while defending mid lane. So again, using that vision to deal with Cloud9's attempt at diving, cleanly reading the next move, and now they're actually getting a rotation on the mid lane.
Nope,
Cloud9,
this should be gone.
They aren't answering. This is going to be the 3rd tier 1 going down for Apex.
Apex is kind of just running Cloud9 around the map a little bit. They are looking for a collapse, though. Smoothie's here, Meteos is in tow, and in comes LeBlanc.
Yeah, Jensen standing on the miasma, can't quite go in. Xpecial gives his life up. In fact, the arrow is going to catch Xpecial. He's still tanking in the front. Apollo trying to cut it out.
Oh, huge
knock-up from Meteos as they turn the fight. Ray goes in, but already Cloud9 have split. Ray is going to try to drop.
He survived!
Oh, the miasma does not do enough damage. Shrimp retreating from Meteos. He's got the body slam in 2-1. Will he be able to make it out of this? Oh, he gets away for now.
Meteos
is going to let him go. The chain finds Keen. They're diving forward. Impact is tanking the turret.
Jensen was doomed. They had to back off. If he had mana for the combo, they could have gone for it, but still a big win there for Cloud9. They get 3 kills. They'll pick up the mid lane turret. That's the collapse they needed. Impact coming in huge. The whole team really making it work there. Great team play by Cloud9.
Yeah.
And now we have a 3-0-2 LeBlanc. Let's get a replay. The turret is taken by Apex. Xpecial goes in. He says, all right, I'll sacrifice my life. But now they want to fight. And Xpecial's already chunked out of this. You can see Impact TPing in the bottom. Their support is already down, and boom! A huge knock up there from Meteos. He lands it on 3. The exhaust already onto Ray. Look at Sneaky's health. Imagine if there wasn't an exhaust.
Oh.
He would be so dead. So he does barely survive. Well played there by Smoothie, saving his AD carry. A big adjustment is making a big difference here in Game 3.
Yeah, very close match. As you mentioned, Jensen coming online, able to assassinate people if he gets the opportunity. 3-0-2.
Yep.
Keen with the cleanse flash. He's going to have to be really careful with that LeBlanc hunting for him.
He always does. Even with that cleanse, there's a lot of stackable CC here from Cloud9. You cleanse an Ash Arrow, you get hit by a Bramalt. You know, you cleanse the chains from Jensen, you get hit by a Maokai Root. There's a lot of follow-up. So although he does have it, it's a great summoner choice. He still has to position very carefully. If he gets caught, he can certainly get popped. And you know, a powerful team fight champion like Cass needs to be able to stay alive for a long time to really consistently pump out that damage.
Very strong play from Cloud9. Now the Infernal Drake is going to spawn in about a minute. And you can see Apex once again controlling vision well in advance, knowing that this could be a point of contention.
Definitely could be. 2 Infernals, not something you want to gift over to Apex. Cloud9 is going to want to try to contest this as best as they can. Shrimp has been having a good series for himself, though. On point with the Smite secures. He's off to a great start this game, 2-0-3. Already picking up the Aegis, getting that supportive kind of item in for his team will be really impactful as far as the team fight goes.
Ray doesn't have his teleport and is currently splitting in the top lane. Jensen does, and Impact is up there as well. They could look for yet another pick to try to get themselves online.
Yeah, Impact does not have his TP though, but he may look for an engage. And Jensen's kind of waiting in the wings, trying to hope that Ray goes in aggressively. And if they do, they'll look for the turnaround. But Ray is playing it pretty safe. They haven't seen Jensen in a while. They should suspect it, but here they go.
Yeah, they're diving onto Ray. He doesn't.
Oh my God! Where'd he go?
You got me. I have no idea. 5 versus 4. Jensen has his teleport, though. Apex are still going to try to make a play towards this Infernal Drake as they sweep out some vision. Are they going to try to burn it down? They are. Keen already doing a lot of damage.
Risky.
Brings it down to 1,000. They pick up the Infernal Drake. Here comes teleport from Jensen. Xpecial once again left behind in the back. Not even going to use
Jensen's
the
going
ultimate.
to be chasing them down, though. They want to continue. We'll see what else they can get.
Oh, arrow catches Shrimp. Here's the chain. Oh, but he doesn't quite follow up in time, and Apex are able to get away, losing only 2.
Yeah, they do lose 2. They get the Infernal, though, and that is double Infernal. I actually think that's a trade I'd be happy to make as Apex. So C9 wins the fight. They need to be careful about this. They're bleeding objectives. Those dragons are very important, especially double Infernal is going to have a huge impact later in the game.
Yeah, Cloud9, though, have got a big minion wave down bottom, despite Shrimp trying to clear it. Oh, Smoothie with the clutch shield keeps the minion wave
Ray's coming in, though. He's looking for the flank.
And he is ready. There go a lot of crits onto Smoothie. Ray, lets them go. And Cloud9 gets some damage, but walk off.
And they are able to get out of there, get a lot of damage down on that turret. Can kind of return later on, see if they can pick it up. Sneaky picking up his Essence Reaver now. Going to be working on towards his Zeal item. Apollo outpacing him a little bit so far, but Sneaky has picked up a lot of kills in this game and is going to be able to complete a second item on this Spy. So it's a really big one for Ashe. Full Hurricane now. 2 completed full items on Jensen as well. The 2 carries are really where almost all the kills, all the gold is going for C9. So this is totally ideal for them. They need a lot of damage coming out of these guys, and they're going to be able to get it.
Yeah, it is a lot more distributed on Apex. 203 on Shrimp, 103 and Apollo. Pretty similar. So the gold is pretty even between those members of Apex. Xpecial continuing to wait. A lot of vision for Cloud9 around that Drake, but it's not going to be up for another 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Apex are getting some vision around the Baron.
Going to start fighting for that vision, always trying to make your opponents think, always make them worry about that Baron getting snuck. And Jensen up here to collect a nice big wave for himself. Meteos kind of just using that Tremor Sense, trying to keep tabs on where the opponents are and allow Cloud9 to respond appropriately. They're going to need to move more members to the mid lane, though, as it's 5 guys from Apex running down mid. Impact's in the bot lane. They may just be seeding this turret and trading for the tier 2 bot. No, Apex is going to actually call to back off. They don't feel confident about making a dive there. Rightfully so, as Impact did have his TP available.
Yeah, but they just gave up that bottom tier 2. Cloud9, 4 turrets to 3. And Apex still grouped up in the mid lane with teleport on Ray.
Ray's having a rough game this time around. He's getting picked on a lot. He's 0-4-3. Down 40 CS on the Maokai. There's a lot of counter engage and point and click CC on him when he goes in. And here comes the engage from Xpecial, but he only gets Meteos. They're not going to follow up.
Not able to find the 2. Still has his unbreakable will, so he'll be able to heal that damage with the Triumph.
Impact's looking for the flank, though. He's going to be able to get onto Keen.
There goes On the Hunt. Keen is left on his own, though. Impact is going to get some good damage. There's teleport, and Keen gets some turn back onto Impact. Xpecial in the back line gets a knock-up. Arrow gets spell shielded mid-fight, and this looks like this could be a fight that Apex want. Keen is trying to burn through. He's running low on mana. Finally, Xpecial will go down, and with the take line dead, Apex back off.
Yeah, Apex has to back off there. 1-for-0. Could have been a lot worse for Apex, though. It looked like it was a great engage from C9, and Smoothie barely able to survive. Whoa, a lot of damage there. Onto Keen. Has to actually cleanse and flash.
Oh, Ray is going to try to turn onto Jensen. Does not. He does have his Cataclysm, but he's separated from his team, and he's going to go down. Jensen is dominating at 6-0-2.
We said we'd need a big performance out of Jensen on the LeBlanc to make the draft work, and guess what? He's coming through for Cloud9 once again.
Yeah, huge performance out of Jensen this game. Really able to pick off these targets. Keen barely able to survive the burst with a full Abyssal Scepter. And this is going to be a big recall. He had 1,700 gold on that.
They're extending the gold lead. Cloud9 looking good. Here we have the fight once more. Impact coming in on the flank, but the follow-up is not really there. The team is not in place to get the damage out. The TP comes in and they make the call bail out. They want to get back into a better position as Special is coming in from behind. A nice ulti across the team there from Smoothie. He's able to flash out, survive, and you can see Sneaky staying safe in the backline, getting the damage out. Jensen staying safe as well. Keen is low, has no mana, and they have to pull off.
Yeah, with that Cloud9 pick off, yet another kill. 10-5, and Apex, their advantage has disappeared as Cloud9 have taken the lead. 3,500 gold, and now they've got vision over both the Baron and the Dragon side of the map.
Cloud9 is looking really good, but we have to remember Apex did come back from a gold disadvantage last game.
Yeah.
We saw how much of a monster Keen became on that cast. And although he's had a lot of focus on him, there was a lot of people coming mid lane, the bot lane duo rotating there, Meteor spending a lot of time. He has yet to die this game. His farm is very high. He's doing quite well for himself and is scaling up pretty heavily, working towards that third item.
Yeah, possibly looking for the Archangels for a shield to help keep him alive.
Should be the next pickup.
Very, very important, as he did an enormous amount of damage in the previous game, more than twice than anyone else on his team. He needs to have a very similar performance this time around, as Cloud9 are trying to press forward with vision and look for picks. Use the strategy that worked in game number 1. Pull Apex apart.
Especially because Ray is not having a good game this time around. He is struggling. He's quite behind. He's getting picked on very heavily. The exhaust to deal with, everything like that. Keen is going to really have to kind of pick up the slack for his team, and C9 going to make a move on the Dragon.
Yeah, this is going to be Ocean Drake going down. No contest from Apex. The first Drake for Cloud9 this game. We will have one more Drake spawn before the Elder Dragon spawns, and that's going to be yet another Ocean Drake. So we'll finally see what's better, fire or water.
Yeah. As far as late game goes, I would definitely give the edge to the Infernal. I think it's more impactful as the game does progress, but nothing to sneeze at. You know, is that Water Dragon, and it can be really nice as far as sieging up. The regen can come in huge.
Keen catching these minions in the middle, as we're already at the 27-minute mark. Keen 3 full items.
No TP on Ray. He has to answer the bot wave. We'll see what C9 can get off this. Do they want to kind of threaten a flank and go for some sort of a fight, or are they going to try to pressure Baron? Right now, they're not doing much, so they're kind of ceding that minion advantage.
Yeah, Cloud9 spread out across the map, while Apex has to move in a unit to protect their carries. If anyone gets picked off, Cloud9 will almost certainly take an advantage. Ray continuing to split push. Impact does have his TP, and so too do Jensen. Once again, the 1-3-1. But just trying to pull Apex apart. He's going to spot out Shrimp.
Impact needs to be kind of careful. I mean, he is very tanky, but he's kind of just wandering around there. And I'm not sure who he was really looking for. Even if someone face checked him, what's he going to do? Jensen working away on this inner tier 2. They had it chunked pretty low from earlier, and it's going to be quite low. He gets caught.
He cleanses. Is Impact going to follow up on the dive? He decides not to.
Okay. Still a good trade. It's arrow for cleanse. The cleanse is going to be a much longer cooldown than Seeky's arrow, and they can just look for that in the next team fight. I think it's a smart call. Yes, they maybe could have killed him, but the potential for it to go wrong was there, and C9 did not have to commit much to get that. So just reset, wait for the arrow, look for another engage on him. If he gets caught again, he is gone.
Yeah. Once again, looking for the picks. Jensen, Apollo sitting under that turret. Spell Shield's not going to do much against a 6-0-2 LeBlanc. Yeah. Has to be so careful. Smoothie's actually going to be caught and take a bit of damage. On the hunt is blown as Apex are going to chase forward. Fissure is going to disrupt them, and Cloud9 walk away, but the lanes are split pushing.
Yeah, they should be able to get this turret. The lane is going to be pushed in the bot side as well. Really good disengage there from Smoothie. Trades his ultimate for Sivers. And that is a definitely smart move to make there, as flashes were available for the Gragas, and they had to respect that flash engage. And right now, no one answering Impact, and they're going to at very least get a little bit of damage on the turret.
Yeah, he's got another minion wave coming as well. There are a couple of assist pings. Ray with teleport is going to try to answer. Oh. Gonna take a bit of damage from the turret, but he is chipping it down. Slowly but surely.
Yeah, Maokai not exactly the fastest turret killer, but still, every little bit of damage matters. He gets about a third of the HP off the turret. If you ignore him for too long, it can eventually reward them with a free one.
APX playing very patient, don't want to let themselves get caught. We haven't seen a lot of kills for them just yet with these 5, but trying to transition towards that late game, keep Keen and Apollo alive.
And many key items coming in here across the board for C9. Also, IE picked up there by Sneaky, 3 full items for Impact, and Jensen working on his 4th is just going to be so scary for them to deal with.
Cloud9 now clearing out the vision for Apex. While there's some skirmishing in the bottom, Ray.
He just used both his W's there. Ray actually may try to go in for the assassination. Jensen has no spells.
He is. Can he get the damage? Which one's he going to pick? Flash. Ray catches up. He dodges back. Ray doesn't get the kill.
Jensen with the outplay on the Blanc. That was so smart by Ray, but at the same time, here is the Baron take of IC9. I don't think Apex can get here in time. I think this is going to be gone. We'll see if they commit.
Apollo drops on the hunt. Xpecial goes in. They're all grouped up. He knocks up Sneaky. Can they kill him in time? Apollo spell shields the initial snare. Meanwhile, Jensen, he gets turned back upon by Ray. Can he turn it into a kill as it's going to go down? Keen is going to lock down Meteos. Apollo's kiting. Ray is trying to jump away from Jensen. Keen flashes back, but Jensen goes in. He's going to look for the kill, and he will finally find Ray. And that's going to be Cloud9 cleaning it up, but Apollo kiting it out. He's going to be stunned down. That's an ace for Cloud9.
That is huge for Cloud9. They go right back to the Baron. Jensen with the massive outplay in the bot lane allows him to base TP into that fight, and he comes up huge for Cloud9 once again.
They turn onto the Baron afterwards as 3, more than enough in their kits to be able to shred through it. And this Baron is going to go down. 32 minutes into the game, Cloud9 once again have got control.
And it all started here in the bot lane. Jensen had used both his ult and his W there. Looked like he was going to be in trouble. Chain gets used as well. Ray wants the fight. And in he goes. Flash looks for the ult. W back. It misses completely. Impact cancels his TP, goes straight to the Baron, and now it's a scramble here for Apex. Sneaky, you'll see him shoot off his arrow. He actually nails the Gragas, delaying him entering the fight to allow them to try to finish. But the bot lane from Apex gets here too soon, and they decide to pull off of the fight. Nice engage there from Xpecial, but there's no follow-up. He went in too early, and as a result, look at this. He's basically dead before anything really happens. Sure, he landed the combo on Sneaky, but it doesn't matter. And Jensen is now based. He's TPing. He's in on the side on Ray, zoning him out completely, and Sneaky free-firing in the back the whole time. Has so much protection with the powerful front line of C9. They have the Rek'Sai, the Braum, and the Maokai, and Apex is struggling to really get through it.
Yeah, just like game number 2. Apex are able to take the first dragon, and that Ocean Drake has been picked up now by Cloud9. So 2 for 2 in Drakes, and 1 for 0 in Barons in this series. But again, Apex, they just have to wait. They just have to stall it out.
They're setting up a death brush in the bot lane. They're going to bail out, but they were looking for that. They were trying to bait Jensen in, look for him to try to outplay Ray and get killed off in the process, but he does not go for it. Jensen now level 17, highest level in the game, 2 levels above Keen, the highest member on Apex.
Yeah, some huge plays on Jensen, 6, 1, and 4. We saw how much damage he did to Keen the moment he was able to pop onto him.
Yeah.
Now he's got a Void Staff on top of that Abyssal. Ooh, gets just a bit of damage onto Shrimp.
Does have that Void Staff working quickly towards the death cap. Mid lane, tier 2 gonna fall. The Baron power play is extending for Cloud9. Impact is pushing in the top lane. They can even threaten the dive here, but Cloud9 need to make sure they do not overcommit. If Apex is able to access the back line, if they're able to, knock in Sneaky or get a combo onto Jensen, they can dive very quickly. So they have to respect the engage. They have to respect the team fight power that Apex has.
Cloud9, definitely a team that knows how to use their Barons effectively. They've dropped all 6 of the tier 2 turrets. And they're now looking to finally break into the inhibitors of Apex.
Yeah, and Ray has to be very careful. He has the Maw but if Jensen can land a full combo on him, it may not even matter. So he's got to try to wave clear this out, but it's Baron minions, and it's tough for him in this 1v1 against the LeBlanc. And now they have LeBlanc going to be working on this inhibitor turret. Who's going to go answer? I don't think Ray can win this 1v1.
Ray's actually going to try. He's heading on down.
Yep.
And, yeah, Jensen's going to bop away. Does still have his second distortion if he wants to try getting in. And the rest of Cloud9 actually are going to rotate around and finish it off. The inhibitor has been broken. And Apex are going to try to mount up a defense around the inhib itself. Impact leads in forward. Sneaky still has the arrow.
Keen has to be so careful. He is going to be the focal point of this fight for C9. If he gets caught, it could be lights out for Apex in this game. They caught him!
Goes in, the arrow catches him, and Keen gets destroyed. Special tries to get a knock up. Ray and Apollo are going to try to turn it around, but Special goes down. Ray gets knocked up, a Cask is going to disengage, but they're going to continue kiting forward. That's 3 members dead, 4 members dead for Apex. Cloud9 are going to try to end this game.
They are going to go for the end here. They're pushing in. They should be able to do it. Long death timers here on Apex, and no chance really for Shrimp to stop this. The whole Cloud9 squad is alive.
Yeah, 5 versus 1. Shrimp will finally drop for the ace. The Nexus turrets are going to go down, and Cloud9 will take this hard-fought series versus Apex.
Medio sees the opportunity, pulls the trigger, and is able to net them a kill on Keen. Without Keen, Apex's comp falls completely apart, and they played a great series, but it is going to be C9 taking the victory.
Yeah, now 4-2 in the standings after that week. The only teams they've dropped games to are Immortals and TSM. And Cloud9 looking strong. You can see some very relieved smiles after that win.
Oh yeah, it was definitely one they did not want to lose.
Yeah.
A stressful game 2, to say the least. Really went long in that one, and you know, Keen showing off some new picks, really showing the power of that Cass, and you know, Ray makes the return to the J4. Does not work out in the second game, but he looked great in, you know, in the one that they did win. You have to wonder though, how much of that was down to there being no exhaust. It made a huge difference in this last game. Smoothie always there with the exhaust on Ray, denying a lot of his early assassinations and really stopping him from being able to snowball.
Yeah, Apex really fought super hard over the course of that series. Game 2, playing on a knife's edge for so long before eventually bringing us to Game 3. And then in Game 3, trying the same strategy, but Cloud9 able to adapt successfully, read it, and play around it. So Apex still have a lot of good takeaways that they can pull from this.
Yeah, they were very competitive with one of the top teams in the league. C9, though, do separate themselves here in the standings, a game up now on their opponents, and moving themselves up a little bit more. They're going to be looking to continue their ascension in the standings, try to really compete against the very top teams.
Yeah, they definitely show that they can. I mean, Jensen absolutely went off. We said it during Champions, like they have a low damage team, they've got a lot of tanks. It's going to be up to Jensen to really put out the effort, and he definitely came up big this game.
Yeah, Sneaky as well. Both their carries picking up a lot of kills here, and the front line providing that pressure, providing the catch. They really coordinated very, very well this game, played it excellently.
Yeah, they really did. Some huge damage, some huge plays out of the team. And again, Cloud9, they kind of fell back to that macro play in Game 3 that won them game number 1. Go for the 1-3-1, look for picks. And Apex, despite having enough vision to prevent it, just weren't quite able to get themselves back in.
Yeah, it's just tough when Cloud9 gets that ahead early on.
Yeah.
Jensen got massive on LeBlanc, and then it's so scary trying to respond to these minion waves being pushed in, because you don't know where the LeBlanc is. When you lose control of the vision in your jungle, LeBlanc could just be waiting in a bush and insta-kill someone who makes a poor rotation. So you're always kind of at the disadvantage with that. On top of that, he got the advantage without having to take a combat summoner, which meant he had a lot of mobility, a lot of ability to kind of respond around the map, and had that TP. So
yeah,
it worked out very well.
Definitely a huge play. But for some more insight into that game, let's check in with Jat, who's stateside with an interview with Cloud9's victorious jungler.
Thanks, Dom. And yes, Meteos, congratulations on the 2-1 victory over Apex. Pretty long series, actually. Clocked in about 3.5 hours. So how are you feeling after a pretty long set against Apex?
I'd say I'm pretty exhausted. Those were some long games and hard games, so it's pretty taxing.
Yeah. What did you find most difficult about that series? Because obviously it was a 60-minute Game 2, and then you guys were able to bounce back in Game 3. What was the transition like between the tough loss and then the Game 3, which is actually pretty decisive?
Well, I think that we lost game 2 just because we made some mistakes, obviously, and we sort of had a wrong idea on how to play the game, and we sort of weren't on the same page during game 2 for like what we want to do in team fights, and so we kept losing fights because of that. So whenever that happens, it can be pretty tough. You know, when you're scrimming, that's usually when you'd have like drawn out conversations trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. But when you're in LCS, you only have like 15 minutes between games. You just got to kind of try to forget it and move on. And I think we did a good job of that. I was pretty happy with how we played overall, but there's definitely still some stuff we have to work on.
Yeah, and now since this is your second stint in LCS, the last time you're here, they're just best of ones, you show up, play a game, and you're done. And you mentioned how tired you are. Is that going to be a thing that progresses throughout the split, like having the endurance to play in these long best of threes?
Well, I don't think it takes that much endurance. You know, if I had to play another best of 3, I could still do it. It's not like I can't play because I'm tired. It's just afterwards, you know, the adrenaline or whatever wears off, and you realize how tired you are.
Awesome. And I also saw an interview that Jensen gave before the game where he was talking about now with you on the team once again, your relationship has improved in the second year. Can you talk to me a little about with your relationship with Jensen and how he's doing this year?
Well, I think that me and Jensen, when he first joined the team, we had really conflicting styles, and we both weren't really great about conflict resolution. So it left both of us, you know, having hard feelings when we disagree about something. But this time around, I think we're both a bit more mature, and we both just really want to win. So he's a great player, and I can, you know, understand his thought process behind things. If we don't see eye to eye, it's much easier to be like, okay, I see what you are going for, but like you might not be accounting for this variable, instead of just like, no, you're wrong, you have to do this. And so I think it's just, you know, the scene's maturing, all the players are maturing, and so it can be easier to deal with conflicts.
All right, well, thank you very much for the interview, Medios. Good luck in your games next week. Congratulations on the win. For now, though, we're going to send it to Dash and the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Jat. Cloud9 victorious 2-1 over Apex in that series. Great to hear Medios kind of talk about how the development of the relationship with Jensen has gone, and that it is about maturity and getting to that place where you can have disagreements as teammates. And I'm sure you can both actually speak to this, one as a player and as a coach, having to deal with players who have conflicts, and being able to work through that is the fastest way to becoming a much improved and top-tier team.
Right. I think what a lot of people need to realize, like players, I mean, when someone disagrees with you, it's not like they're wrong or they don't understand it. It's because they usually have a different reference frame for like the problem. So like as a mid laner, you might see something different from a jungler, and when you try and just say like, no, you're wrong, obviously it's like, no, I'm just taking something else into account that you're not, and I'm probably missing something too. And that's kind of what he said, when they're different variables they need to keep track of.
Yeah, and
the key thing is really how they've both matured as players, and being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes and really understanding why is this person struggling with what I think is the correct play. And both parties being able to see it that way leads to a lot more harmony and understanding. How can we come to a middle ground and actually work on this that we can both benefit from it?
Yeah, and also, too, it appears that in Medios' response as to why Game 2 went the wrong way, in a sense, was because mistakes, yes, but also because the second point was that we weren't necessarily on the same page about how we should be going about team fights. So clearly some of the issues around communication or around you know, goals and the way that the team should go about things are still not falling into place just yet, but they will get there. Let's dive into this third game because once again, Cloud9 picking themselves into a composition that needs to win early. They mentioned it, 2 damage comp with that LeBlanc. LeBlanc has to get ahead. He did just that, so they were in a good position to roll through the game. But with Apex picking that late game scaling comp with the Cassiopeia, that's got to be in the back of their head. We lost game 2 to this almost the same exact comp. It could happen again.
To their credit, putting your eggs in the Jensen basket seems to always be not the worst fallback play.
Yeah, absolutely. So he goes off on that LeBlanc. Unfortunately for Apex, they can't extend the game quite long enough. Jumping into a few replays, 17 minutes into the game, the first big fight for Cloud9, 3-for-0 in the mid lane. Let's take a look.
All right, so Especial gets his like he's kind of caught out of position. He has to blow his ult early. He gets picked off and dies. And this is kind of what we're talking about at the end of the last game, is like this is really a frontline dependent comp with like the Grogs and stuff. And then yeah, Medios there with a monster engage after that, and from there it's a lot of chasing down as Ray tries to turn back on a Sneaky, but they're able to, you know, save him. Smoothie there to pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, the goal just going into the right pockets, right? You see Sneaky pick up a kill. Jensen was 6-0 at one point. You know, very much, I guess, certain things fell the right way for them, but then they played correctly with their lead.
A key thing about the composition that Apex was running is that as soon as Special gets caught, his first play should have been, let's just get out of here. Drop this fight. Because when you run something that has a very heavy front line with a back line that is most of your damage, the key thing is that the damage gets stacked upon the CC. If the CC can't be followed up by damage, it is not a good time to use crowd control. So going for a pulverize on somebody when there's no carry, especially short-range carries like Cassiopeia and Sivir, is never going to work out. Unlike Cloud9, who's every time that the Maokai and Rek'Sai are going in, you have LeBlanc very capable of following up. Same with a longer range in Asher. She could at least provide a volley. So just misunderstanding the composition, which it's a little troubling since they were able to pull it off Game 2 very well towards the end, but now in Game 3 in the beginning, they're faltering.
Not quite there. Let's move ourselves 14 minutes further into the game, 31 minutes. Cloud9 going to get an ace plus a Baron, but it all starts in the bot lane with Jensen and some fancy footwork here in the 1v2.
I mean, you see Ray off in the corner stalking his prey, thinking it's going to be an easy kill, gets the knock-up. He's going to lead Jensen right into Keen, who's waiting, but that's what...
Yeah. Why not just let Keen have the kill? Like, you just wait on the clone and let Keen take over.
And it's what Sane was talking about before. The Jarvan damage can get kind of flashed out of there instead of a flak. It's the second proc of the LeBlanc W. And here leads to a start on the Baron for C9. And Xpecial's in there before the rest of his team, gets a nice pull. But like Crumbs was just saying, there's no real follow-up to it.
And in the beginning of this fight, for some reason, Apex decides to just send the 5-man to bot side to assist Ray in getting the kill. Yeah. When it should be similar to the Echo Fox Immortals game, when somebody makes a play on one side of the map, your response as a remainder of the team should be to defend whatever else the other team is trying to do. So a little bit of a macro faltering, but Cloud9 responds properly, and the CC gets comboed on with the damage. And at that point, even if you have a low damage composition, if everybody's hitting the right target at the same time, it's not going to make a big difference.
Another big element of that fight was the fact that Jensen was able to back off of the bot lane engage and then TP into the fight full health, full mana. As at the same time, Jarvan joins the fight, doesn't have his ultimate because he had just used it in the bot lane fight. So you're already fighting underpowered with Xpecial engaging in a place where you don't want to engage. So definitely caught off guard by the cross-map plays from Cloud9. With that Baron buff from there, they kind of steadily pushed down the base, and then we saw that final engagement in the bot lane, which then nets C9 the kill. Final thing I want to hit before we get to player of the game is the Smoothie and Bunny conversation. Last week when I spoke to you, Mark, about it, I know that you said, you can't just look at win-loss records for these guys to determine who is more successful in this roster.
I think this is something, at the start, week 1, people were bandwagoning, oh, Bunny's so much better. Week 2 and week 3, it's like, oh, Smoothie's so much better. But what you don't understand is they ran the same comp twice, Apex. And so the person who goes in to play Game 3 against the same comp is going to perform probably much better because they already have an understanding. We heard Meteos say in the interview, we didn't really know how to handle the comp. Jensen's not sure if he wants to go in, or with Lysandra or Kite back, what are we doing? And then you have Reaper watching the game with this guy who's not in the game.
With Smoothie.
Explaining what the team should be doing, and then he puts him in the next game with the whole team being on the same page now, and you play against the exact same comp with new picks and an understanding of how to beat it.
Right.
Of course, you're much more likely to succeed there. So I think it's really rash to just bandwagon onto, whoever's winning the most is now the better, support. And I think if you take that mentality, you'll flip-flop a lot this season.
So a little perspective.
We should just ask the players who they think is...
Well, and they've been very vocal about the fact that they don't think one player is better than the other, that they are very happy to have them both in the lineup. They're confident with both of them in the lineup. It's about getting them the reps and making sure that in the later stages of the split, if they do have to make a decision, they can, sure, but they'd also be comfortable playing either of them at any point. This does take us to our player of the game, which is going to go to Jensen on that LeBlanc in the mid lane. 7-1-7, only 1 death, and some really fancy outplays, as well as serious damage output.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because Apex went for a similar style composition, even though he can't necessarily burst many people down on the Apex lineup, they don't have the ability to actually get onto him. As LeBlanc, it's very easy to outmaneuver the Gragas, the Jarvan, the Cassiopeia, even the Alistar. So Jensen can have a field day moving around the map, knowing that he's never going to get caught, and he does exactly that. Lots of roams towards the side lanes and ends up snowballing beautifully. He gets such a big lead that eventually nobody's able to handle him, and he can just one-shot whoever he likes.
Well, a long 3-game series between Cloud9 and Apex, but Cloud9 coming out victorious in that one. It's time now for an update over on NALCS 1. Immortals and Fox are into their second game of their series. Immortals is up 1-0. However, Fox is up in Game 2 at 24 minutes in, about 2K. We're going to take a live look and see how this one turns out.
Turret health. for him to come clean that up. But yeah, remember, even though Echo Fox, they've had this gold lead for the entire game, you know, they've been kind of in control. It is Immortals who are able to take both of the early Drakes, you know, because of that kind of failed setup, as well as the early Infernal trade for the Rift Herald buff. So if Immortals are able to even up these turrets, you know, now they're back to 3-3 on turrets. The gold lead's much closer. They can pose a very threatening mid-game comeback. Fox, basically what they have to do, though, as we said from the very beginning, protect Eve. There's 5 kills on this Caitlyn. It's already got Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire, and almost Bloodthirster. So if they can keep him up and keep him auto-attacking through the fight, then they still should have the advantage.
It's going to be tough. You got Guardian Angels being rushed here. Reignover, second item, Guardian Angel. After a Sightstone and Jungle item, it looks like another one for Pobelter is going to be coming out. So after this burst of Froggen, they're going to have a lot to deal with the Reignover and Pobelter running around. It's going to be scary. Zanya's on Huni as well, but Fox looking very good so far.
Yeah, I like this play. They're going for the True Sight Vision play around Baron, looking for the pick. They're also pressuring with KFO, who has teleport.
They're itching. The side swipe, Stranglethorns goes down with the gravity field. That's going to be the true damage from Reignover right onto Big, and the rest of it following through from Immortals. There's the TP. That's going to be coming in from Huni. Throws down the equalizer far away. That would have been off his screen. And they're able to completely push out Fox on this aggression.
Yeah, Hard might go down eventually, but he's going to make him work for it. And during that time, Aurelia is still pushing. Woo! Aurelia might get a turret for this chase.
KFO has been kind of silent off on the sides. Hard finds his way out. A great flash over the thickest part of the wall there. It's going to be Baron for that second tier turret. KFO's going to push a little bit harder, hopefully.
And he has teleport, but it's too late. 3,000, 2,000. Froggen won't go for it.
Good choice there. There is definitely catch potential, especially from this team. You're going to get hit with the Iceborne and then a Harpoon. You can't chase that. You can leave KFO to the bot lane, though.
Well, we're getting lucky with some action every time we do these look-ins. It's now evened up in gold after Immortals. Yeah, exactly. Immortals get a nice little pick that's going to be coupled into a Baron. Of course, KFO was pushing down those turrets in the bot lane, so at least Fox is getting something out of it. But with an evened up, gold score and now a Baron buff on Immortals, that's not a position that Fox wants to be finding themselves in.
It's going to be an Immortals win again. You know, from that big lead, we knew that the struggle from Echo Fox was a macro game. And when you have a 2K lead at 6.5 and you can't expand that, then that's a big problem. We saw the item differential between AD carries. Tear and Mana Crystal versus BF Sword Pickaxe, and we're still unable to actually shut down the AD. You know, we're going to have to revisit what Echo Fox is doing and change something drastic.
Right. 6:30 into the game, we had 4 kills on the Caitlyn. It was a 2K gold lead for the team. 1.5 of that gold lead was on Keith in that Caitlyn. It is now exactly even in terms of gold over on that stream. We'll see if the late game Caitlyn can still pull it out, because he did have the advantage of having the gold all on himself. If you want to know how that game 2 over on NALCS 1 turns out, go ahead and swap over to that. For now, though, we've got to take a quick LCS break. When we come back, Team Envy and CLG will go head-to-head over here on NALCS 2. You won't want to miss it. We'll be live in just a few minutes.
Apex, once again, going to try to drag this one out and try to lock Cloud9 down. Kill and kite out the aggro. Special needs to land the knockup. Whoa! Keen from behind turns it into 2. He's going to catch Special. He's still tanking in the front. Apollo trying to kite it out. A huge knockup from Meteos as they turn the fight.
They should suspect it, but here they go.
Yeah, they're diving onto Ray. He doesn't.
Oh my God! Where'd he go?
He is. Can he get the damage? Which one's he going to pick? Flash. Ray catches up. He dodges back. Ray doesn't get the kill.
Hitting Cassio. Cassio stuck.
Cassio.
Yeah, Cassio. Hit J4 start. Sivir has stack.
You can kill.
Nice, guys.
Yeah, we should be able to.
Cloud9 will take this hard-fought series versus Apex.